Good morning, guys, and welcome back into Vinny and the Jets. As I always ask you, please like, share, and subscribe. Apologies for yesterday, not dropping a video after the game. We left a little bit early, which was out of character for me, knowing the way I grew up following this team. My pop and I left about like 6 minutes left in the fourth quarter. I'd had enough, and to travel back to Connecticut on the highway, I mean, we left at like 4. I got home at like 10 after 6, and when you're 10 beers in, I wasn't having it. So, needless to say, before I even break down this disaster, which I wasn't expecting at all, let me just say to those of you that came out to the tailgate. I want to, shout out to Primetime and Tyson from Let's Talk Jets Radio, allowing my father and I to be a part of their tailgate, meeting up with guys from their chat like Jomo, Luca, Tim. Thank you, and everybody that was there. I mean, I hate to say it, but the tailgate was actually a hell of a lot more fun than the game itself. We were fortunate enough to run into Fireman Ed, who's dealing with his own problems at home. For those of you that don't know, his brother just recently passed away a few days ago. I mean, the guy had literally tears in his eyes when I shook his hand. I told him, thank you for everything for you, what you do. I shouted him out on Jake Asman, saying I really feel that, this team should retire 42 in his honor, because he's truly the voice of the fan base. He is. I mean, hell, the Seahawks retired 12 for the fans. We should do the same for him. He does a lot, and it's not just yelling JETS. It's a lot more than that. The charity work the man does, he's taking the time to sit with the fans, talk with the fans, get to know you where you're from. And I grew up with, watching the guy on TV and then in person, so I don't think he gets enough credit. But, a credit to him to still come out to the game in pouring rain and just, with everything he's going through, it's a lot. It's a lot. As far as the atmosphere, it was very disappointing. Now, I understand that it was raining really bad throughout most of the game, and a credit to the fans that did show up and sit there in pouring rain to watch that garbage. But honestly, for your home opener, it's the 21st anniversary of September 11th. The stadium was not sold out. And from my perspective, I was sitting on the third tier in section 311. It was like 60-40, like 60% Jets and like 40% of Baltimore Ravens fans. I mean, I saw purple in almost, if not just about every section of the stadium from top to bottom. I mean, that's just sad. And it's like, well, what do you expect, Woody Johnson? You haven't given us a product on the field to cheer for in 11 years. It was disgraceful. And to leave the stadium and get heckled by their fan base, it makes it worse. It doesn't encourage you to want to come back. And these assholes at their ticket office still have the nerve to call me. How many years has it been since I gave up my tickets? 2012, the Tebow year. That's when I said that I've had enough. And to say, oh, Vinny, would you want to come back and renew? We have this package, this, and hell no. Hell no. For that, I could stay home, have as many beers as I want. I mean, beers, by the way, PFF put some nonsense on the Facebook the other day that beers at Jets games are $5 a pop, but for Giants games they're $11. That's total bullshit. I paid $14 per beer yesterday, which is, then you want to know why the fans get loaded in the parking lot. Give me a fucking break. $14 a beer. Stay home if you can, and honestly, just get your liquor or whatever you need from your local package store, because that's hot garbage, total ripoff. But let's get into the game itself. The game itself, shockingly, was still a game leading up into halftime, but Joe Flacco, for them to trade a 6th-round pick after they let the guy go initially to Philadelphia and then say, oh, we need veteran leadership in the quarterback room. Now we have to give up a 6th-round pick. And people will say, well, what do you care? It's a 6th-round pick. It doesn't matter. You gave up a chance at a prospect that maybe you could develop. Instead, you bring in a guy older than me, 37 years old. And I mean, the word that keeps coming up on every message board, every platform, every podcast is statue. And that's what Joe Flacco was. And I know he was hurried and under pressure all day. For Christ's sake, get out of the pocket. And I mean, when he got protection, he could still sling it. That's what I'll give him right then and there. The first interception was just totally disgusting. It was 100% on him. And you literally put it into the breadbasket of the defender, just like in the preseason. That's what set Baltimore up with their first touchdown. Okay, fine. We finally drive towards the end of the field. It's in the middle. We finally get into field goal range. I have a nice little drive we put together. Come out, Greg Zuerlein. Greg the leg. Yep. What are we gonna do at home? We're gonna go and we're gonna miss a wide right or left. I couldn't even tell from the angle I was sitting in. All in all, that fucker missed it. And it's just like, well, we need a veteran kicker. That's where we've struggled. Oh my God. Oh my God. But closer to the end of the half, he did connect on what was, I think, a 50-yard field goal and, makes it a 7-point game. So shockingly, it's still a ball game at halftime. Shockingly, no howling. And the thing is, going into this year, we were worried about Ulbrich and the defense. For God's sake, the defense actually came to fucking play. Quan Alexander, all over the field. Sauce Gardner held his own. Michael Carter II. Where else? DJ Reed, he did his thing. And the defense showed they came to play. Was there really much of a pass rush? Not really. That's another thing that irked me to my bones. I don't think I saw one fucking blitz the whole day. And Baltimore was down to their third string left tackle, their second string running back. And that's why I don't want to hear a goddamn excuse about Dwayne Brown or Zach Wilson. It's the NFL. Figure it out. They did in your house on 9/11 of all days. I mean, for God's sake, there were fans next to me in the stands when they asked for the moment of silence when the big flag is on the field, literally crying. You represent New York City that went through such a tragedy that no one will ever forget. And it's bigger than sports. But you represent New York City. They made these new ridiculous jerseys. They want New York across the chest. It's a disgrace. It's a disgrace. At home, no less. And to see that the Giants pulled off a stunner down in Tennessee, now we got to hear from them all week. But the thing that bothers me more is, let's go back to the game. Now it's halftime. This is the problem with Robert Saleh and his staff from last year. How about an adjustment? Can we please make an adjustment? Because what you did for 2 straight quarters got you 3 friggin' points. But no, we're not going to make any substitutions. We're not going to change our game plan. We're going to keep the same quarterback on the field. Baltimore, on the other hand, they made the tweaks to what they needed to do. It's like, why? We're going to start airing it out. Why? Because now they're going to put Bryce Hall out there in a corner. Let's attack him. My God, he is such a terrible corner. My God, he was getting lit up, torched, roasted, and sliced. Take him out of the friggin' game. He can't cover anybody. He stinks. That 2020 draft class looks so horrible. And what do we have as the only 2 survivors that actually have their legs underneath them? That piece of shit in Hall who can't cover anybody in this league. He's so bad. And then Braden Mann, he's shanking punts in week 1. Can we get rid of this guy? Punters are a dime a dozen. The fact that we invested a draft pick into a punter and not a kicker is just mind-numbing. Kickers actually score points. Punters don't, and sometimes the kicking game is the difference between winning and losing. You can go on and on and on. And furthermore, going back to how awful the special teams were, could somebody explain to me why Brandon Boyer is still a coach on this team? He was there from Todd Bowles to Adam Gase to now Robert Saleh. How does he keep surviving? Does he have naked pictures of the owner or something? It makes me wonder, just like when the Jets had Terry Bradway as their general manager. Now, he was a bad general manager as it is, but rather than fire him, they changed his title when they elevated Mike Tannenbaum to the GM. They just put him away somewhere he hung around for years. Why? He had terrible drafts. He had terrible trades. They stunk. Why keep him in the building at all? Why is Boyer still calling these special teams? Why? The special teams stink. The possession, the field of possession with punting, kickoffs, field goals. For Christ's sake, he missed when they scored that touchdown in garbage time. I didn't see it. I had already taken off. We had enough of that shit. I assumed when I saw the final score was 24-9. Maybe they went for 2 to try to, try to put as many points on the field so it doesn't look as bad. And maybe they just missed it. Oh, no. They trotted Zuerlein out there for a PAT. He missed that too. I mean, oof. The Ravens kicker didn't miss any field goals, 3 for 3 and on his PATs and a field goal. He wasn't affected by the rain. He wasn't affected that he was on the road. Automatic. You're paid to do one thing. Put the ball between the uprights. Going back to the offense, you want to talk about people that don't know how to do their job. Corey Davis, you can catch the fucking ball. You're paid to do one thing. Catch the ball. Parcells used to say to his receivers, set your feet. You set your feet and catch the ball. It's not that hard. It's a very simple game. And this is the same garbage from last year with Corey Davis. And when the game was over, obviously the Jets beat writers, they get off when we fail. We all know it. Costello, Samini, Connor Hughes, they get off when we fail. They don't want us to win because this is where they make their bread and butter. They don't want us to be a successful team. I don't care. And I've called out Samini, those of you that know. He'll respond right to you back if you do. He'll tell you straight up, I am not a Jet fan and I'm not going to break out the green pom-poms. This is my job. He doesn't care. And he shouldn't. But Conklin got called out. I was like, is this the same old Jets? And he, with a little bit of fire in his belly, he goes, well, no, this ain't the same old shit. This ain't the same old shit. Well, Tyler, it is. You haven't been here. You just got here. This team hasn't been to a Super Bowl in 53 years, 36 of which is my existence. You don't know the scars that this fan base has. And it's a great fan base. I think this is the most loyal fan base in all of North American sports. And I'm not just talking the NFL, the MLB, the NHL, the NBA. Nobody comes for more of this, just heartache than this fan base. I mean, Jesus Christ. I mean, we deserve a break. We do. And it's just like every year there's this devastating injury to start the season. Let's say, well, write the Jets off. Their season's over. You can lock them into fourth place in the AFCs. Last year was Mekhi Becton and Carl Lawson. This year, surprise, surprise, Mekhi Becton again. Then you can add Dwayne Brown. Then you can add Zach Wilson. I mean, when do we get a break? When do we get a break? Christ. I know we're not on the level of certain teams. I always look to the Rams and the way they've structured their hierarchy and the way they run things over there. Yes, I know they got blasted by Buffalo. I know, but for God's sake, since McVay's been there, they win division championships, they play in conference championships, they've been to a pair of Super Bowls, and they brought home the Lombardi. This is business at the end of the day. And at the end of the season, when they get off the final plane ride back home, the thing I want to see when the team comes off the plane is, did you bring home the trophy or not? Because if you didn't, I don't give a fuck what you did. Sean McVay doesn't play any starters in preseason. He doesn't. There's no need to. It's a risk. If you know this is the quarterback, this is your receiver, this is your offensive line, this is your defensive line, these are your specialists. Preseason should be used to evaluate second string and on. Nothing more. Why are we risking our stars? For what? For what? And we've had a history of this. Remember Chad breaking his wrist in the preseason. Mark Sanchez behind a third string offensive line. I can go on and on and on. I've seen everything. I'm just so pissed off and frustrated. I can't, you want to say you can't do this anymore. I was joking with the guys in the tailgate. Forgot to mention a few other class acts, by the way, of the fans that came out. People came up to me that have seen my channel, were just shaking my hand and introduced me to their family. Just an amazing fan base, but hats off to a few more of you guys. Claudio from Gotham City Crew, he recognized me right away. Such a good guy. Congratulations on your family, by the way. Gino and Liam from Everything NYJ. Pleasure to meet you guys face to face. And my man Anthony Triola, the ultimate New York Jets fan. For those of you that don't know, he's the number one Jet fan I've ever met. And he flew up from Tampa. Gino came up from Missouri. People pay hard-earned money, and then to go out there and see that hot garbage, it's not fair. It's just not. And I can preach till the cows come home. But you know what I mean? It's just this is where I look at the ownership. Don't be surprised if Woody, knowing he's back, this is his team. Christopher has little to nothing with a say over the roster and the front office. If things go south, God forbid, because knowing how awful the schedule is the first 8 or 9 games, do not be surprised if he wants to make a huge splash. And what do I mean by that? He's had an infatuation with a guy like Jim Harbaugh for years. Sean Payton is out there. He's going to be coming back to the NFL eventually. So knowing that he didn't pick this GM, he didn't pick this coach, and he might say Zach Wilson is not ready for the NFL, don't be surprised, because every time you reset the clock, you push the team far back on the timeline of how long it's going to take to rebuild this fucking thing. Excuse me. I did not expect them to win yesterday. I didn't. But I said, we set the bar so fucking low for this team. Just compete. Make it a game in the fourth quarter. Don't get blown out. I thought we were past this shit. And then you come out and you get blasted 24-9, your home opener on 9/11 in your home stadium in New York and New Jersey. It's not good enough. It's not good enough. And like I said, this is why people like me, former season ticket holders, said we're not coming back. And guess what, Woody? You don't give a damn who sits in those seats. Everybody knows it. The only thing you give a damn about is that there's asses sitting there paying for that fucking seat, paying for your hot dogs, paying for your piss-warm beer. They don't care. They really don't care. There's certain teams out there, when it's playoff games, we don't know what playoffs there are. But I could shout out the Denver Broncos, the Arizona Cardinals, a couple others I can't think of off the top of my head. Oh, Seattle, the Seattle Seahawks, when they have home playoff games, which we don't know what those are here, they refuse to sell tickets to anyone in the zip code of the opposing team. They won't do it. They won't do it. And the only way you're going to get them is on the third-party market. So good luck with that. That's creating a home field advantage. There was no home field advantage yesterday for your season opener. The season hasn't even gotten a chance to go south. And the fans don't want to come out. And I don't think it had anything to do with the rain. I just think people expected us to lose and lose royally. The roster isn't that bad. And for those people that aren't Jets fans, just say, well, they're just going to look at the scores like they suck. They lost. We know. The roster's not that bad. I think it's mismanagement at this point. Robert Saleh, I was watching him, especially in the second half, with his arms folded, pacing the sideline and looking at the floor. What are you doing? Unfold your arms, motherfucker, and start yelling. Another thing that pissed me off is Garrett Wilson had a sensational catch in the second half, makes a few moves. It was like a 3rd and 8, 3rd and 9. He was a yard short from making a first down. We're close to midfield. We're down 2 possessions. Go for it. He sends the punt team. Where are your balls? It's don't come at me next week and yell all gas, no break. Don't do it. I don't want catchphrases. I don't want a guy that's going to be friends with the players. I wanted a ball breaker, and that's not what this guy is. You need to change your way of thinking, or this season's going to go south. Forgive my venting. I will talk to you guys next time. Leave a comment below, and hey, go Jets. Try to.